So I want to segment this discussion into two parts. I want to talk about the problems that you've identified as you've studied the company over the course of the last 90 days, and then I want to turn to talking about the solutions that you plan to implement. Last night on the call, you were asked about why growth or why contraction had really persisted for these two straight quarters compared to this time last year, and you mentioned sales execution as one of the fundamental reasons. Unpack that for a little bit. What did you mean by sales execution?
Yeah. So when you have a business that's led by Tom Siebel, who's the CEO of this company, and he had health issues earlier this year that he disclosed, that is a hard knock against any organization when you take a leader like that and sidelined. He was the heart and soul of this company. So when he was sidelined, it really did slow down the execution across sales. What does it actually mean? Our business is about landing what we call initial production deployments, IPDs. These are initial use cases with customers. These are high value use cases across core operations. When we deliver real economic value, those convert and grow. Unfortunately, in Q1, we didn't have the strong leadership to drive accountability to actually ensure the execution of those IPDs. So I would say that was the number one reason for the miss on that.
Okay, and I just want to get a little more granular here. For those of us who haven't been on sales teams and don't really understand, what it's like when something like that happens in an organization. I mean, is this direction on how to position the product that the teams weren't getting? Was it issues around pricing? Was it sort of just help us understand really, on the ground what that looked like?
So enterprise sales is not a quick turnkey solution when you have a little widget and you just do high volume. This is a highly relationship-based execution where you have a complex use case and you really have to drive the execution with our internal teams and our customers. These are use cases from like supply chain optimization to asset performance to demand forecasting. I highlight the execution is so critical here because when we close an account, we have an alignment with the customer of the value we want to deliver. If we can't deliver that in a timely basis, those companies don't convert. And that requires the full scale and effort of our company to go help deliver that. So when you lose your leader, your CEO, and he's sidelined, you lose a lot. It's kind of like a rudderless organization for a while. And so for anybody who hasn't run enterprise sales before, that's a huge knock against an organization. So
So
that's
basically not knowing which accounts to prioritize, which, what direction really you really want to take the growth, stuff like that.
it's across every dimension, every part of the organization it touches. So how do you get started? Which
Right.
target, accounts to target, how to drive velocity. It all
Right.
starts from the top.
Right. I do want to talk about the solutions that you're planning here, but I wanted to talk about one customer segment that caught my eye. Manufacturing as a share of your business declined considerably. I wondered why that segment in particular.
What I can tell you going forward is that segment is actually the fastest growing segment right now for us. And when you think of discrete manufacturing, I look at the work we're doing to deliver the nuclear class submarine, the Columbia class. This is all about reindustrializing America, specifically the maritime industrial base. We're seeing big growth on that segment, as well as semiconductor. I kind of mentioned AMD is a customer of ours from Q2. This is again for focusing on discrete, manufacturing, and that is an area of focus for us.
So what's the plan from here now for you, Stephen? How do you plan to bring this company back to growth and ultimately, hopefully becoming one of the booming names in AI that we've heard so much about?
Yeah. So, Akash, I've spent countless meetings with customers, prospects, and partners. And I will say this, the observation is the opportunity for C3 is bigger than I could have anticipated, primarily because the enterprise AI market is growing so fast. And I think we have a truly differentiated product here where we are not just a chatbot, we are driving core operations for large manufacturing companies, energy, healthcare, and federal and state and local. So my focus is on one, execution. I'm in the weeds day with our sales team, driving these execution and ultimately driving economic value for our customers. If I do that, you will see the conversion. And if we focus our product, we have an amazing platform, 16 years of development, plenty of capabilities. When we focus on the right segments, I mentioned federal, state and local, energy, manufacturing, healthcare, and select others, we win. So there's two components. driving execution day to day, but also focusing our engine on the right markets and market focus.
And how do you square that then with the reality that enterprises, as you said, which are a big customer group for every enterprise software company right now, is getting them to buy AI? It's slow. I mean, these enterprises are saying, look, I got to find the right people. I got to find the budget. I got to find the ROI. How do you square that with the fact we even saw numbers this week that AI adoption in some cases for the largest companies is starting to plateau?
Mm. I, that's not what I'm saying. And honestly, where the focus for us on these industries, like industrial industries, again, manufacturing, healthcare, energy, they're seeing strong macro tailwinds. And the problem we're solving is eliminating a lot of the drudgery from day to day of the work on the ground. Think of this again, this is not a horizontal use case. These are very discrete applications for supply chains, for asset performance, to minimize downtime. Think of
Hmm.
the application across the Air Force to make sure you have the maximum number of fleet in the air, to Shell to wants to make sure oil production is on schedule. Uh,
Right.
Demand forecasting, semiconductors to vaccines. These are what we're influencing. So, from my perspective, and this is where we're finding partnerships with these hyperscalers and system integrators, we are able to apply these vertical technology on top of their horizontal platforms to go to
Hmm.
market.
I want to ask you a slightly more personal question, which is you've been in the role now for 90 days. I wonder in the 90 days before you took the role, and I don't know when you knew that you were going to be CEO, presumably it was at some point in that period, but how do you prepare for coming into a turnaround role like this? Who are you talking to? Are you studying playbooks of companies that have gone through this? How did you prepare?
Well, two areas would probably help me. One, I was a customer of C3 first. So before C3, I was running the GSA, the General Service Administration, and I was in process of making the government more efficient and evaluating to AI solutions to help us do so. And I saw the full swath of the market, came across C3, and I saw the demos like that jumped off the page. I'm like, what is
Right.
that? And so that was my introduction. I spent a lot of time evaluating the technology as a customer. So that was my first. Second is I've built AI companies in the past. Two companies. I was fortunate enough for Salesforce to acquire us, so I understand where the technology is going and the
But,
capability.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm asking a little more philosophical. Like turnarounds, they're really hard, right? And there's only been a couple of big turnarounds in history, at least in technology. I wonder, did you study any of these companies? Did you talk to any leaders who had sort of architected these playbooks?
Yes, I've spent a lot of time. One, I got to know Tom Siebel extremely well, got to know the board, so the existing strategy, and also knew where we need to get to. I also have, from my background, mentors in this space that have done turnarounds of large enterprise companies. So I spent a lot of time with them, and they've been helpful in my previous past building enterprise companies in Silicon Valley. So yeah, study playbooks, understood it, but most importantly, every company is unique. And the alignment with the executive chairman, Tom Siebel, and the board was where I spent the most amount of time understanding their strengths, where they have to deserve the right to win, which industries, which products. And that allowed me, at least give me an informed opinion of where to focus my first 90 days.
Right. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing how you architect your playbook in the months to come.
Thank you, Akash. I appreciate it.